There's a certain kind of adult behavior that looks like a high-stakes poker game, but it takes place entirely in the supplement aisle of a Whole Foods. Picture a grown man, let's say he looks a lot like me, holding a bottle of, let's call it, Longevity Complex, reading the label with the intensity of a guy trying to defuse a bomb in a crowded bus terminal. Lion's Mane, resveratrol, CoQ10. These aren't just supplements. They're the opening incantation to a life that sounds utterly exhausting. These are words invented by a man who peaked in CrossFit in 2014 and then disappeared into the mountains to optimize his mitochondria. So this person, maybe you, maybe me, does what any rational optimizer would do. He puts the bottle back. Then he picks it up again. Then he stands there for a deeply private, slightly embarrassing amount of time. He wonders, is this indecision an early sign of cognitive decline? Or is the lighting in the supplement aisle simply designed to make you feel that you're aging in dog years? And that's where the realization hits. This is what the longevity industry does. It turns a mundane Monday errand into an existential performance review. It whispers, "Congrats on making it to 58. Unfortunately, your neurons are currently underperforming. Please see the cashier for your shame discount." There's a version of this where it's just a wry observation about midlife, but there's another version where it's actually dangerous, because clinicians are starting to see a specific kind of burnout that doesn't come from your job or your kids or your inbox. It comes from the crushing stress of trying to be perfect at staying alive.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. I'm still standing better than I ever did. It's my life. Don't need to fight. Just prove I'm right.
Hi, I'm Steve. At 55, I realized nobody prepares you for the third of life, the part after you've built the career and possibly raised some humans. So I'm figuring it out in real time and sharing what actually works for me. If you like these topics, I also publish a Substack newsletter. If you're a reader, you can look for Your Third on Substack. Today's show was based on a topic I wrote about recently that seemed to resonate with some of you, so I thought I'd talk more about it. We're talking today about this growing obsession with wellness. What happens when taking care of yourself morphs into ongoing self-surveillance? We're looking at how the frantic stress of chasing a longer life can start doing the exact thing you're trying to prevent, shortening it. Now, a quick disclaimer before the biohackers come for me. I'm not anti-health. I'm not here to talk you out of lifting heavy things or eating actual vegetables or seeing a doctor who isn't trying to sell you a $200 jar of sea moss. I am certainly pro-science and pro-longevity, but I'm also intensely pro-sanity, and there's a line. And we are not just crossing it, we are sprinting over it while wearing more monitoring devices than a NASA astronaut on launch day, and then calling this neuroses discipline. Now, I know this resonates because after I wrote an article about this for my Your Third Substack, people with Oura rings and Fitbits got in touch with me, passionately defending the computer hardware they voluntarily wear everywhere, including to bed with their partner. Apparently, the relationship is serious. I get it. Some of us are very attached to jewelry that judges our rest. But there's a term for this emerging right now. It's called longevity fixation syndrome. It's this anxiety-driven obsession with optimizing every possible variable, biomarkers, inflammation, gut health, and probably the emotional trauma your gallbladder is still carrying from that incident with the burrito. The irony is it looks like healthy from the outside. It gets applause at dinner parties. If you drink too much, people stage an intervention. But if you track 20 biomarkers, take 90 supplements, and treat a sourdough baguette like a suitcase full of plutonium, people say, "Wow, Steve, I love your dedication." This obsession wears a costume of virtue, but there's this smart, painful paradox. If your method for extending your life makes you chronically anxious and socially isolated, your body doesn't experience that as optimization. It experiences it as a high alert threat. You've become the project manager of your own existence, but you've forgotten to actually exist. So what are we going to talk about today? Let's talk about how your body keeps the score. We've all had that gut level feeling that stress ages us. Well, it turns out your gut and the peer-reviewed data are in total agreement. Researchers use things called epigenetic clocks to estimate our biological age. And get this, one of them is literally called GrimAge. Scientists, bless their hearts, are not exactly known for their upbeat branding. I was reading this study in Translational Psychiatry. Do you have a subscription too? They found that higher stress exposure is directly associated with accelerated biological aging. What does this mean? Stress isn't just a vibe or a mindset. It's a biological wrecking ball. When you're in a low-grade panic because your sleep score dropped from an 84 to a 57, your cells don't clap for your higher standards. They activate the HPA axis, your body's internal alarm system. Cortisol spikes, inflammation rises, your telomeres, those little plastic tips at the end of your DNA shoelaces, they start to fray. You're literally burning the candle at both ends in the pursuit of living forever. And here's the kicker, the one that stopped me in my tracks. There's a study in Finland. They found that for men, physical inactivity was linked to about 2.4 fewer years of life. But men who found their lives almost unbearable due to stress lost about 2.8 years. So the bottom line is this. The constant nagging mental inconvenience that you're ignoring is statistically more dangerous than skipping the gym. The stress of wanting to live forever is more lethal to you than inactivity. Longevity isn't just about what you put in your mouth. It's about the state of your nervous system while you're chewing. And this fixation has a close cousin. Sorry, I've been reading medical journals. There's a close cousin called Orthorexia, a great word to use in Scrabble. The term was invented in the late 1990s. It describes an obsession with pure or correct eating that eventually becomes a cage. The goal isn't weight loss. It's a terrifying pursuit of righteousness. Starts with a simple clean eating goal, and it ends with you being unable to go to a friend's backyard barbecue because you're terrified of a non-organic condiment. If you become the one who brings their own food to the potluck, not because of allergies, but because you need everyone to know you've transcended their peasant-level understanding of inflammatory oils, well, I'm talking to you. There's this doctor, Stephen Brotman, reminds me of bratwurst. Sorry, Stephen, if you're listening, who came up with this term, noted that people often feel shame about other disorders, but they evangelize orthorexia. They give TED Talks about it. It's the same with this longevity fixation. If you're skipping your daughter's birthday cake, not because you don't like it, but because you're scared of the glucose spike, you're not winning at health. You're losing at life. You're choosing data over celebration. Now, so what do successful people actually do? Well, if you look at the blue zones, the places around the world where people actually live to 100 without trying, you notice something frustratingly, almost annoyingly simple. You don't find people in Sardinia staring into the middle distance in a cold plunge pool whispering about their mitochondrial density. You don't find Okinawans spiraling because their wearable told them their REM sleep was suboptimal. The people who actually live to 100 aren't the ones with the best data. They're the ones who forgot to check. They're too busy debating with their neighbor about whose tomatoes are better. So what do they actually do? They move naturally, gardening, walking, kneading bread. Their movement is a byproduct of life, not a scheduled event. They eat mostly plants, but they also eat bread, and they drink wine with friends. Notice the with friends part. They have a sense of purpose, a reason to get out of bed that isn't check my stats. They belong to a community. The longevity industry treats social connection like a nice-to-have accessory, like a little phone charger for your happiness. But the data says it's the engine. Strong social ties increase your likelihood of survival by 50%. Loneliness, on the other hand, is as lethal as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Think about that. If your longevity routine makes you too rigid to have an impromptu glass of wine with your neighbor, your routine is actually shortening your life. The connection is the compound, the most powerful supplement of all. So, okay, how do we fix this? Well, we stop trying to micromanage our existence. We move from a mindset of control to a mindset of trust. I call it the enough protocol. So 1, pick the boring basics. Movement, sleep, real food, community. Stop shopping for infinity and start aiming for consistency. Boring consistency is the highest form of discipline. Number 2, fire your judge. If your wearable makes you feel judged instead of informed, take it off for a week. If your wearable makes you feel like you're failing at being a mammal, you're not using technology. Your technology is using you. Your nervous system is a better, more human guide than an algorithm. Number 3, what's your connection biomarker? Ask yourself, does this habit make me more connected to others or more isolated? If it isolates you, it's not longevity. It's a hobby that's killing you. 4, try a 10-minute unoptimization. Once a day, spend 10 minutes just being, just be a human animal. No metrics, no health podcasts. Cue the irony police. No moral accounting of your calories. Just sit on your porch and exist. Or go sit under a tree. Our third of life is a precious, finite stretch of time. You can spend it in a lab coat mindset. That's your choice. Treating your body like a vintage car you're too afraid to drive out of the garage. Or you can realize that health is only valuable if it serves your life, not the other way around. Don't sleepwalk through your third because you were too busy tracking your steps. So, your reflection prompt for this week. Where has taking care of yourself started to feel like a police interrogation? And what would happen if you traded one optimization for a moment of genuine connection this weekend? I'm Steve Gershik. This week, make the call. Send the text. Go eat the bread because life is too short to spend it measuring how long it is. This is our third. Bye for now.